How are we doing, everybody? We are back. This is the Council of Olds, and we're here today to look at the second half of teams for the VBL-S Season 15 Daddy Conference. Now, if you didn't see the last video, you should check that out because we're going to continue with these last 8 teams. We got a strange draft board with low power mons here available. Your top tiers are Hariyama and Glamora, and not Walking Wake and all these monsters that we have in normal formats. So it's a really fun twist on VGC. I'm joined by some of the most elite old men of the server. We've got the Jordan. Say hello.
Hi.
We've got Goose, a long time VBL veteran on a little break, but deciding to pump in for some analysis that he does not need to back up at all.
Yoo-hoo.
And then we've got Father Time, the Dadster.
I don't know how to follow up those introductions. This is going to be a tough one. Tune into the last video if you want to see the big time introductions. But again, Sukaba, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. I'm excited to talk about these last 8 teams. This is where we left off the tier list a little bit. It's all good. And we're going to get started with the next division. And it's my team.
It is indeed. My name's on the list, so it's me. I had messaged Sukaba, I don't know what this was, like 5 days ago or something, a week ago, when I saw you pick up Bruxish, and I was like, oh boy, I know what comes next. I've seen this before, because it's rolled me in the past. Bruxish Colossal, baby, the only combo you ever need. I looked at the first draft of this board when it first came out, and I saw that Bruxish Cole was a combined, 13 points, and I was like, that cannot possibly be correct, because this combo is going to run through teams. There's not a lot of options on this board to be able to handle this. Back when I had to play Sukaba when he had this combo, there were answers to it, and I still got rolled. So I don't know how people are going to deal with it on this board. Fake out? Not today. There's only one or two, I guess. What, 2 mold breaker fake outs? Tinkatuff and Tinka. What's the baby one? I forget the name.
It's gone now. It died.
Oh, it's gone? Oh my god, there's only one answer. Okay, well, good luck. No fake out for you. No priority. Bruxish Cole, Aquajet, Terrifier, Colossal Heatwave coming your way. It's over. Weakness Policy. See you later. And that's only one mode. You got Dustnor, Conkeldurr, so you can, set up Trick Room. Conkeldurr is a whole mode by itself. Drain punching things to death with Iron Fist. Boom, recover the HP. See you later. You could Terror the option defensively. It gets like knockoff and stuff. Mock Punch, you want priority? Holy moly. And guess what? It's not even Grookey on the squad. It's Thwacky. The better one. You get the Grassy Terrain Recovery. You got the priority with Grassy Glide. Espeon. Daddy, don't forget when I remember I played you with the Espeon and I lost that 3-game set. Holy crap. Espeon's a good mon. Don't forget 130 base attack. Special attack in this format goes crazy. Grassy Terrain with Halucha also goes nuts. Ampharos is a fantastic value pick. I don't know what the last 2 1-pointers are doing, but who cares? Because the rest of the team's crazy. S tier. Who's next?
Easy. Okay. Yeah. I mean, thank you for bringing the hype. I can't match that, so I'll just bring it down. You can't fake out this team because Dust Noir. He's so good, and he won't get faked out. You can't fake out this team because Halucha is so fast. Its quick guard actually works sometimes. And so, like, even when Bruxish isn't here, even when Bruxish is choice banned or Appleton, I'm going first, but like I can't kill Appleton. Like, the team's really got a lot of dimensions to it. So Scabo on their winning tour after going on Mono Dark, where they're limiting, they were leashed then, but now Sakabo is unleashed.
Yeah, I think phenomenal Trick Room mode on this team. It's got the bulk, it's got the different modes, it's got a very strong fast mode. I think the Espeon and Halucha late into the draft, I think those pickups are absolutely huge. They're not the best mons, but nothing in this format is, except for Dusk Noir, which is also on this team.
Mons are really strong. The numbers are all here. Even Halucha, I'm going to be tentatively optimistic with Thwacky. Just click and taunt and stuff.
And you don't have to bring it every week, right?
Yeah, the season of the little guy. So some little guys are going to do great on this team, including the big guys. They obviously are going to do great too.
Yeah, I'm excited to use it.
If you want to bring the Cole mode, it's really difficult to stop it, as Goose pointed out. If you want to bring the Trick Room mode, it's damn near impossible to stop it. You cannot fake out Dusk Noir. It runs the mental herbs. You cannot taunt it. You're going to get Trick Room most of the time when you want it. This team has a lot of really strong options, and so far this is my favorite team.
Yeah, it should be exciting to use. I'm excited about the Halucha and the Thwacky as late additions to the team. I think the Thwacky is going to be really important for like how I want to play, just because it provides a lot of pivot, which I think is really good when you have Trick Room. It provides strong priority, and I have the Halucha to be enabled with the Unburden. Halucha gets coaching. I can literally just lead these two and coaching the Thwacky, and it gets really strong really fast with Grassy Glide. And I tried to make sure that if I was going to pick Dust Noir first, I would have Trick Room Abusers. So I was happy that Conk made it back to me. And I think having used Bruxish Cole before, I think what made it successful on my last team was that when you combine it with a strong Trick Room mode, it's really difficult to cover both. And a lot of times what you could do is you can lead Bruxish Cole, and usually your plan for Bruxish Cole is kill the Colossal, right? So that leaves Bruxish sitting there. So if you time it right, you can have Colossal deal a ton of damage, die, and then just set Trick Room with Bruxish and bring in your sweeper in the back. And it's like
or
really,
even
really
protect,
strong.
right? Just protect, and then Colossal's very slow without Steam Engine.
Well, that's true too. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm high on my team in this format. I
As
like
you should
what I was able
be.
to do.
Now watch as Pokemon happens, and you end up either 1-6 or 6-1.
Right.
Exactly.
You never know.
That's what I'm
true.
saying. Like I could
true.
see myself absolutely throwing with this team as well. A lot of games, just trying to set off the combos. Also, notably very weak to Mirror Herb.
Yes, yeah.
But I have
bet I've
Frisk,
never seen
so
that one.
I'll know
Great.
where it is. Maybe.
You'll know, yeah.
Maybe.
It feels like the most complete team to me, and it's not perfect. No team is going to be perfect in this format, but it does feel very complete, in my opinion.
Type chart also is not great. I mean, I have
Who
no
cares?
Dragon Resist, no Ghost Resist.
Bruxish Cole.
Yeah, just the leads are going to be make or break for you this season,
Yeah.
I think. Like, there are going to be things that people can do. So Dusk Noir, you can't taunt it and you can't fake it out, but you could put it to sleep. Colossal's going to kill you if it gets, all the Omni boost with weakness policy. But if you sash and you play around it, then you can find yourself in trouble. So even though I do think the team is super solid, there is going to be counterplay to it, obviously.
Yeah, I'll get wrecked sometimes on turn 1 and then just lose. 100%.
We'll see. I don't know. I don't know. I think this team has everything I could ever want a team. You can just win in prep sometimes, I think, with a squad like this. So
Is it better than Beartic?
it's the top
Sure.
team for me. I don't think there is one that compares for me
I'd agree with that.
All right.
with Jordan as a close second.
Let's
I
move
accept.
on to Poppin's team. We've got a rerun with Glamora for Poppin.
Might be a 3-peat for
what's going on
Poppin.
here?
Was I conscripted to?
Yeah,
do this?
you weren't
Was I
here
right?
when I
Yeah,
when
Daddy went
I
teacher
signed
mode while you
everybody
were
up.
gone. He assigned us
Everybody's
all.
got 2 teams,
Oh,
so
wow,
I
okay.
forgot to tell you. Surprise!
All right, let me consult my notes. I don't have any.
Yeah, let me look at the notebook here for a sec. Gotta flip to the page.
Torterra kills with Shell Smash. Spathra kills with Time. Embor probably kills. This is the time if it's gonna be time. Hold you guys to Shell Smash. Mirror Herb. Knucklestack wins games. Like the team looks like it's got a ton of power. This is a Poppin team where they were in the lab, they scienced it. Like they got some bulk gods, they got some offense gods, they got the perfect typing analysis. They used beakers and test tubes and explosives, and then they developed this team. It seems really, really strong. Are the numbers here? Like, or are these just high octane, high energy type Mon? Like, is this team actually strong? Do we have like fake tiers? I guess Espathra can Lumina Crash and then boost stuff up. For Glamora Meteor Beam can destroy everything turn 1, so we don't always need a boosting move. Like some of the turn 1 power is here. Power is really, really here. Like, is speed here? Probably. I mean, we have redirection too. Team seems frankly very, very strong in all dimensions. I'm not seeing an immediate weakness. Let me consult my notes. You guys should go now.
I feel like speed is a weakness here. I don't think that the Trick Room mode is super strong here. Knucklestack is a bulky boy, and Salt Cure, we talked about earlier, is a phenomenal move. Outside of that, this team doesn't really like to go slow. And also, going fast can be an issue. 108 speed is very solid in the format, but as we've seen with virtually every other team so far, there's going to be things that outspeed it on pretty much every other squad. This team does have very solid support options. Elekid, redirection with the potential to paralyze. There's a lot of physical attackers in the format. Static could come up huge with the Sash. Dugong is a very, very good support, in my opinion. To be picking it up in the second to last round, I think is really good for popping. Bombardier, a little bit under tiered, maybe, in my opinion. The ability to have 3 different types of stab, to set Tailwind. Pretty solid mon there. The speed is what concerns me a little bit here. There are good special attackers on this team. A lot of teams are lacking in that area. It's a lot harder to snarl things or to set up screens than it is to intimidate things. So I do think that Poppin has that going for him. I think that this team is great, but I do not think it's on the caliber of a team like Sukaba's or Jace's, in my opinion.
I think picking up Elekid is really big for this squad. Just having the Follow Me Mon available, which is something that's like
Infinite speed.
so rare in this format. It might literally be the only thing that gets it outside of Furret. I think is the only other one.
Very few.
But
Yeah.
you have the Poltergeist and you have the Espathra, and these are 2 mons that love to set up, right?
And Torterra, right?
And Torterra to a lesser extent definitely can shell smash or.
How much speed does this Bother have? Yes.
Exactly.
A lot.
Infinite.
Galvantula is a lot of speed control too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean Trick Room's gonna be weird, but like, doesn't this team have some bulk? I think it has some good bulk.
I
I
mean,
think
Aquastack loves
Torterra is
Trick Room.
great in Trick Room too, right?
Yeah.
Like against
We'll
a
see.
lot
We'll
of teams.
pop it now, try to navigate around. I think that it loses the ability to be quite to play slow all of the time. Some of the blobs of stats are going to be deleted under a Trick Room.
Yeah.
We'll
The
see.
rock weakness, I think, hurts a little bit too. Torterra's resisting, nothing else is resisting, and there's a handful of weaknesses, and there's a lot of, there's going to be a lot of rock moves getting thrown around this season.
Also,
a great team, though.
we're ignoring like one of the token mons in this team, the Dugong, that notably was available on this board while Seal is banned, which is very funny. Thanks,
Which makes
McGrath,
sense.
for that.
Yeah.
Dugong is
Yeah.
awesome. I used it a couple seasons ago, and I thought it was a phenomenal support mon. I mean, it has access to Fake Out. Its move pool is absolutely crazy.
It's legit.
It has 1-hit KO moves, and it's bulky. So if you can survive a few turns and you're clicking Horn Drill, you're going to kill something with it.
Yeah, and
Considering how much we praised Elekid and Dugong, this team has to be great, right? Because there are 6 mons clearly better than that.
True.
I mean, I will say, as someone who, like, my last season that I played, I had Elekid and a bunch of, like, setup mons. People will run Mirror Herb against you. So you have to expect that. And if you do set up in front of them and they get the Mirror Herb off, you may just lose.
you have Frisk
so-
on Espathra.
That's true. That's
You
true.
just
That's a good
frisk
point.
it
But then
out.
you're not running Opportunist or Speed Boost.
Right. And
So-
a lot of these mons are going to need the boost to be doing the damage that needs to be
But-
done.
I mean, this is draft, right? So, like, I could see a week where you bring Frisk because you're like, hey, man, this team looks like it really needs to set up with Mirror Herb against me, otherwise it loses. So you could bring it. I mean, just having access to it in draft is good.
This also might be the only team in the league where the special attack number is higher than the attack number in this format.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the power on the special side. The Glamora, who we haven't even really discussed as just an absolute animal of a Pokemon. You have the Espathra, you have the Poltergeist with some of the highest special attacking stats that were available on the board. Really like scary because it's a lot harder to counter special offense than physical offense because there's no intimidate, there's no burn that works on special attacking stats. And he has ways to boost these special attack numbers, right? You've got the Meteor Beam, you've got the Calm Mind, you've got Shell Smash. So this team can scale power really quickly and it has the support tools to do it. I'm quite high on this team. I like it a lot.
Yeah. I think even Basculin's like a good answer to, like, I mean, we were talking about, hey, this team doesn't really want to be in Trick Room. I'm pretty sure I lost to Sly with Choice Band, Aquajet, Adaptability, Basculin before because it just Aquajetted my team to death and I couldn't do anything.
That's crazy.
So, like, maybe that was more of like a he's good at the game and he was smoking me because it was early. But I mean that's Basculin's a real mon, especially with
It's
like
real
the
damage.
damage it can do. You just take Okos.
I mean, its
So-
attack stat is similar to Dragalji's special attack stat, right? And it gets access to Wave Crash, and that is massive damage.
Yeah,
the
it's like
problem
on
is it
Draco
just-
Media that
it
doesn't
just
miss
dies, right?
pretty much.
It does die. That is absolutely true. It does die. But you throw a
Yeah.
scarf on it,
Yeah, it's all good.
It's true. I don't know. I really like this team. I
Yeah.
think it's top of A for me.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
putting it right below Jace. I think it's excellent.
I think I like it a little better than Jason's team.
I agree. I'm putting it right above.
It's really good. All right, let's move on. We've got the Pancham Pianists. Firefalls. Whoa,
Yes.
what's going on here? We got boosting. We got Flamigo to copy the boosts. Boom.
I see a lot of things on this team that I like, and I was telling you guys, I think before we started recording, Wigglytuff was my only major snipe of the draft that really wanted that competitive mon, and we talked about how James would rip me. James, we miss you, buddy. Sorry you're not here. I think Blaziken is a very solid first pick. There's not a lot of fire types in this format. There are a lot of grass types, and Blaziken is going to eat those for lunch. Access to speed boost. You don't need speed control when you have speed built in. We talked about it with Espathra. I think Blaziken's another really good example of that. Superior, I'm not totally sold on, so I'm going to kind of skip that one because I want to hear what you guys have to say. Obviously, it's fast and it has contrary. Excellent. I do believe in the Revavroom in this format. Not a lot of ground
so
types.
much. My biggest hype.
I really do believe in it. Not a lot of steel types. It is offensive. It has, poison and steel stab. Steel, I talked about in the last video. I don't think is terrific offensively, but Revavroom has, some solid coverage moves. The speed tier is pretty solid, and we also have access to spin out, which I think is the coolest new move in the game. I used Revavroom a few seasons ago, and setting up Trick Room on turn 1 and launching a massive steel attack while dropping your speed enough to underspeed things in Trick Room is super fun to play with. So I like that option a lot for Firefalls here. Stantler, we've seen it in the past in even stronger formats. With Eviolite, really good Trick Room setter. It's got Intimidate. It's got that, skill swap and weird stuff that it can do. Very solid mon. And then we pick up Sandaconda at the end of the draft because ground types don't exist on this board. I think this is a pretty well-rounded team. It does maybe, might struggle with Trick Room a little bit. It does have options to go fast. We have our fake out is Meowstic and competitive is nice, but I don't know if you want to be bringing that every week. So definitely holes in this team, but overall, I do think it's pretty solid.
Yeah. When I had Stantler, I calced it to live routinely calced it to live choice banded close combats because the Intimidate and the Eviolite just completely go insane. And when you got that and you got the Meowstic, with every move threatening in addition to Trick and covering each other, the team can do Trick Room, it can reverse Trick Room, it can click any move, and I think that is the X factor here, that the Trick Room is a lot better than one would expect with Avalugg and Bellybolt. That's a Bolt Beam, special and physical defense and all defense. The team's Trick Room mode is really well hidden, but really good too, and then the fast mode is not hidden at all, but it's close combating you, so you're dead. And I think the team's numbers are really, really good. I think Firefalls did a lot of wheeling and dealing and made sure this team is the best they could possibly make it. I think they're on their get good mons and try to win the championship era. That's what I think.
Yeah, just real quick, I'd love to hear from Sukaba and Goose just your thoughts on Bellybolt and Superior in particular, because I'm really torn about those two mons.
Yeah,
so what do you guys
I was going to talk about Bellybolt because I was interested at one point in adding it to my squad potentially, and I was talking to Code Dameron, who, if you guys don't, if you're new to the league, maybe you don't know about Kobe. He's a longtime VBL coach that is very interested in Bellybolt. One might even call them an enthusiast. So I was talking about what makes a good Bellybolt team, and they were mentioning how it's really important for Bellybolt that you have ground immunities because you want to be, you don't want teams to lead Earthquake into you because it's just easy to click it, right? So it's you want to have mons that synergize with the Bellybolt. Ideally, if you can get a Levitator maybe that is also a ground type, something like a Flygon or something that resists electric. That way, because Bellybolt's best move is going to be the Parabolic Charge, where it hits everything and it's going to heal. So you want to have something that can sit next to it on the field and not just die from your own Bellybolt, and then really just enable it. So this team has a major ground weakness, right? You don't really have a lot of resists. You have the Flamigo as your only ground weakness. This doesn't strike me as a perfect team for Bellybolt, right? Mm-hmm. That being said, on a board like this where points were kind of you could just throw points at anything, you spend 16 points on Bellybolt and it's fine. The team is still great. It doesn't need to be a perfect team for it because Firefalls kind of just took the mentality I want to spend all my points. Bellybolt's pretty good. I'm going to take it. And that's totally reasonable, I think, on this board. So I think it's going to be fine as not even the focal point of the team, but sometimes Bellybolt is just going to roll you. You know what I mean? So, yeah, as far as Superior, I don't really know anything about this mon. I never understand why it's ranked so highly, because when I look at it, I'm never like, wow, I really want to take this. So maybe somebody could enlighten me about that.
I think in this format, I think Superior could be really good just because if you can't deal with it on the turn that it's clicking Leaf Storm the first turn, it's going to start scaling out of control because it's got pretty good defensive stats. I think it also doesn't necessarily have to rely on Contrary. I think it's probably its best ability. I don't really see a lot of reason to run Overgrow a lot of the time, especially like if teams want to run like Icy Wind, Electroweb, or whatever. They're just going to boost your speed, or like Intimidate's going to boost your attack instead. But the fact that it has access to Glare, I think, makes it a pretty good speed control option because Glare can't miss, and you can also paralyze ground types. So I think just as like a support option, it doesn't even need to be offensive Contrary. That can just be like a week-to-week option that you can run if it looks good. But I think Glare by itself is like a good enough supportive move that it can kind of make other teams crumple. And you can also just win, like that can just be a win con, is the paralysis RNG /
It's very fair,
control.
and 113 speed is outspeeding most
A
things.
lot of
Now,
stuff.
teams are going to have a mon or two that's faster than that, but
Yeah.
you're not always going to lead those mons. And when you don't, yeah, you're absolutely right about Glare being super strong.
Yeah, and like in regards to Belly Bolt, I think it deals more damage than you really expect it to, because Belly Bolt really likes, I mean, kind of like to what Tsukaba was saying, it really likes to tank hits, so not ground type moves, but eating hits and then getting that Electromorphosis boost. I mean, the charge effect doubles the power of your electric move, and that's pretty insane, especially in like a lower tier format. Like Belly Bolt's gonna be dealing a lot of damage. Like a charged Thunderbolt is gonna, I mean, 180 base plus stab. Like what's that, 270? That's a lot of damage.
And then I think, real quick, sorry if I interrupted you, but I think
No,
that
you're good.
a super strong combo that we haven't really talked about is going to be the Flamigo and those first two starter picks.
Yeah.
Flamigo's going to be able to come in and pick up those speed boosts from Blaziken. Swords Dance, turn 1, get the speed boost, call in Flamigo. Other coaches in trouble, right? Superior gets off some contrary boosts, bring in Flamigo, other team is in trouble. And the team is ground weak, but if you can bring in this Flamigo and copy those boosts, then all of a sudden that mon can go wild if I'm thinking about spamming Earthquake.
Yeah, you're right. Honestly,
Shift
Flamigo is really
gear.
good for this team. It's like, it's also just like having a like flying and fighting type is just really good. It's the reason why Zapdos Galar is so good in draft. Is like it's just such a good offensive pairing. It lets you hit like almost anything for at least neutral damage, and they also have notably really high base power moves. Like Brave Bird and Close Combat are big numbers. And when you have a big attack stat and you're copying boosts, maybe a Sword Dance and some speed boosts from the Blaziken, you know, this thing is going to get out of control really quickly if you can't deal with it. So I like this team. I think it's not great when your only Trick Room setters are very fast. I feel like that always creates awkward situations when you have like 85 and 100 speed mons and you're setting Trick Room. It's like once they set it, it's kind of like they're kind of dead weight until Trick Room ends or you switch them out. Like it's a little awkward, but this team doesn't really want to be in Trick Room a lot of the time, so I think it's fine. I like this team.
Yeah, I also want to amend my prior statement for Superior not running Overgrow. It gets Calm Mind, Helping Hand, Knock Off, Light Screen, Reflect, Substitute, Swords Dance, Taunt, Trailblaze. Like it gets a ton of actual setup moves that Flamigo can then copy. So in those instances, you may actually want to run Overgrow.
Yeah.
Also,
And the one
Gastro
problem
has-
with this is you're trying to set up a lot on turn 1, and the other
Yeah.
coach does have the option to just kill you, because these mons are, Superior has surprising bulk, but it's a grass type, and it's not the bulkiest thing in the world, and we know Blaziken sure as hell isn't the bulkiest thing in the world, right?
Yeah.
All right.
High octane gaming, though. I'm gonna be the
Yeah.
only one that I think that puts us in top tier. I'm a big fan of the numbers, but
I think
where
it's
are you guys?
definitely an A tier team for me, for sure.
Yeah, I have it in A. I go back and forth between Jordan's team and this team. I think it's around there for me.
I do like this team a lot. All right. Let's continue. We've got the rebranded Daddy. This is hilarious, by the way.
I
I
do
literally, I did not see this rebrand until I actually made this document earlier, and when I saw this logo, I was giggling like a maniac. This is hilarious.
I need to credit the artist because obviously it was inspired by a picture of me. So yeah. Anyways, I just googled fat Beartic and this came up, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. This is incredible.
So-
But it's
Also, like,
Beartic's Alaskan dad. Alcoholic dad. My
So-
bad.
Okay, wait, where did that come from?
So you're gonna have to keep LS in check this season because we got to make sure that Beartic's not misbehaving over here. Got to make sure he's being a good boy over there. But anyway, so let's talk about the team of Pokemon here. We've got Jumpluff, who we've yet to talk about tonight as one of the premier options on this draft board as far as support goes, given that it has Tailwind and Rage Powder. And I think in a normal format, Jumpluff, falls flat just because it has a 4x weakness. It's frail. It's not very strong offensively. But in a format like this, I think its support is going to be really important for teams. And I think that you did a pretty good job building teams that can abuse what the Jumpluff has to offer. Obviously, the Kingdra is going to be one of those token damage dealers. Water Dragon typing is amazing. There wasn't a lot of great dragons on this board. It gives you a really nice special attacking option. The stat is only 95, but it's a little deceiving because Draco Meteor is big base power. Also, you could potentially, run sniper and scope lens and crit and do some crazy stuff, But as we look farther down the team, I think the Rhydon was a really nice pickup. I know we talked about it at the time in mid-draft about this, but I really, really love this for your squad because when you think about Rhydon as a Pokemon, the stats are actually so crazy. This is ridiculous with an Eviolite. This thing gets so bulky and so strong really quickly. It has Lightning Rod, which I think really works well for this team because you don't really have any other interactions with Lightning aside from, this Electric, which is not really a major player. So being able to redirect from the Jumpluff is really big to have that as an option. You Terra Water this thing, and it's only weak to grass. And guess what? You've got 2 amazing grass resists on this team already. So I really like the Rhydon here. I think it's going to be a big player. Alchemy is going to be decorating that thing. Big numbers, really quick. I don't know. I think you did a good job, Daddy. I like what you got going on here. I like what's cooking.
Rhydon was a central threat when I fought it in the main power level format. I mean, asterisk, you do need to Terra it. Ground Rock was holding it back.
I remember I played Jace one
be good.
time when he had Rhydon, and I got completely rolled by a Terra Rhydon that I was not prepped for at all. This thing is a monster.
Kingdra, I believe in Daddy's belief in Kingdra. Gonna require just randomness. You have to be surprised by what Kingdra is doing because the numbers are kind of mid, but it has every tool. It's gonna be really, really explosive and fun. So, and Jumpluff. I'm surprised they made it to round 2. A really good pick here. So yeah, good mons. It's I got a classic kind of chaos where we've cut off our ear and we're writing brilliant piano music. I don't know exactly how these pieces fit together. The speed situation's kind of weird, but you got Jumpluff, so doesn't matter. If Daddy's really aggressive with the team, I think it'll be good. But if the team doesn't hustle, then some of these mons are just gonna be I'm just a weird ear hanging out over. And so we'll see how the team plays, but I think there's a lot of potential.
Yeah, I definitely wanted the team to be kind of surprising. I like Kingdra doesn't, it doesn't hit especially hard outside of maybe Draco Meteor, but the fact that the stats are so spread across and its move pool is deceptively strong, I think you can run it a lot of different ways. And I think Kingdra and Alchemy, we also see it in the other conference, I think is going to be a really potent combo. I mean, that's probably the best dragon. Maybe Dragalge you can make an argument for, and then Alchemy is the only fairy. Electric pointed out to me while we were having conversations about the draft, I mean, Alluring Voice, what is resisting it? Not a lot of the format. So I think Alchemy could be solid. I wasn't 100% sold on it, but I talked to some people and it sounded like it would be fun. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think Alchemy is honestly it's going to be used offensively for you too. A lot of people in a normal format view Alchemy as a decorate bot, right? Where it's clicking the funny decorate button, maybe you scarf it just to make your mon incredibly strong. But on this board, there's not a lot of special attackers. Fairy is just generally one of the best offensive types in the game. So having Alchemy with 110 special attack stat, it just clicks Moonblast sometimes or Dazzling Gleam, right? And just kills stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's
Sadly, no
How do you feel-
Moonblast, but Alluring Voice.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
running Alchemy in my other draft, and 90% of the time, you can just tell your opponent, I'm running Protect, Decorate, and Alluring Voice. And they know it's coming, but they can't
Right.
stop it from being good. Like, it's a fairy. It's a cake. It's delicious.
It really
Goose,
doesn't
what
get
are your
Moonblast.
thoughts on Basculin White? How you feel about that, man?
I think all the
Pokemon.
basking forms are
fine.
good in general, but also just in this format. I think anything with adaptability and a 120 or 130 base power move is. It can just take an Oko, and
So-
sometimes all you need is to remove a key piece.
So what's different about the white stripe version? Why are
Last
there two of them?
Access to last respects and Eviolite.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
rattled.
Because of
Not that
Bastion.
that matters.
So it gets
No,
the
not at all.
perks
We'll see if
of
it matters.
Legion, basically.
A whole ass mode is Jump Bluff plus random attacker. It can be Bastion, it can be Flareon, it can be Greedent. I don't care if I'm going first. Like, you can't close combat my Jump Bluff. Like, its power's actually really huge.
Dude, Greedent is good, man.
I think
Everybody's
Greedent's
saying
good.
it's so good. Look at Poppin's bulk calculator. It's up there near the top.
It's always good for the point value, 100%.
Yeah.
And sometimes
it-
it just
it's
clicks
slow.
belly drum with redirection and then kills your whole team.
And then it wins.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. There's more options than I think meet the eye on this team. Like Sneasel Hisui has coaching. There's a lot of Mons on this team that would love a coaching buff. Electric, Golduck, Greedent, Basculin, White, Rhydon, even Alchemy for a defense buff would be nice. Weirdeer, Drum Bluff probably not, but like Kingdra gets Wave Crash, which anyone that gets Wave Crash is automatically dealing pretty good damage regardless.
True.
You could like Life Orb Kingdra plus coaching it immediately and then instantly just Wave Crash something to death. So I don't know. There's more options than I think I can probably see on this team just from a 5 to 10 minute glance. There's a lot of damage here. Flareon, I think none of us have talked about yet. I think it maybe could do something in this format. I don't think it's ever done anything before, but it could. It gets Guts. Guts, Facade, Terra Normal, Flare Blitz. I don't know. You could maybe it gets Trailblaze if it's lucky. I have no idea, but I don't know. There's a lot of good pieces on this team. There's definitely end game win cons. Electric by itself can also coil up into a win con with Eviolite and just kill stuff over time. I don't know. I like the team. I don't think it's top tier, but I'm a fan. It's got a lot of good pieces. You can definitely win some games. You can make playoffs with it. I got faith.
The logo is S tier.
Yes, the logo is 100%
The
S tier.
picture is S tier. I'm gonna put the team at the top of B. I like it, but it's definitely got some weaknesses and.
It's somewhere in the middle there for me. But Dad, bring anti-water coverage like Terragrass Energy Ball and Terra Blast Electric, because I feel like that's what people are gonna bring. So I'm just gonna get right in front of it. Hey, week 1, week 2 opponent, I know you're gonna bring Terra Water. Dad's gonna be ready, all right?
Right.
Hell yeah.
All right, let's keep it going here. We've got Prime Sparks, newly rebranded from Spinnerack last season, was the conference champion, made it to the grand finals, and looking to, repeat that success in this one. Rotom Heat as a first pick. Is it the best fire type on the board? Probably, right? Maybe Blaziken, you could argue, right?
Those two.
So this.
Vivion's time. We'll say this about a lot of mons, but probably Vivian too. Where it demands a serious look. Shield Dust is no joke. Compound Ice is no joke. Friend Guard is no joke.
Friend Guard's really
Yeah.
good.
For Alligator, basically good now? Great, maybe. One of the better ones.
This team has some really strong attackers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Metacam is so strong. Rotom Heat is really powerful. Ursaring is pretty immediately powerful. You can't sleep on even a Trevenant. Like Poltergeist is pretty strong a lot of times. So how do we feel about the speed control on this team? What are your options? Is Pavilion a legit Tailwind setter because it has Friend Guard, or
If that's the one thing it decides to do, maybe. Sometimes we Dragon Dance, sometimes we Scarf E-Web, sometimes we Scarf Electroweb, sometimes we don't go first, sometimes we Prankster Screen and call it a day. It's a little weird. I think you nailed that pretty quickly though. Like I don't want to rely on Doug Trio for speed.
Bulldoze.
We got Bulldoze immunities, yeah. And we got Clear Amulet, Covert Cloak. We can do stuff.
I think outside of setup, I think the damage output early in the game is going to be a little difficult. Ursaring is hitting pretty hard. A lot of times it's going to run Guts, not all the time. Sometimes it's just going to run Eviolite. 130 base attack is definitely solid, but we're coming off of normal stab moves, and we know normal doesn't hit anything super effectively. And outside of that, we got the Golem Malola, but there's a reason that thing was only 7 or 8 points or whatever on this board. So not... And for Alligator, Sheer Force is definitely an ability, and it's got some moves it can use, but I think this team is going to be looking for setup a lot of the time. Vivian, whatever, is great, right? Friend Guard is great. The ability to set up Tailwind or put things to sleep is great too, but it's 89 base speed, which isn't terrible, but a lot of things are going to be faster, and this thing dies to a stiff breeze.
Even
so
with
we
the
might
defensive boost,
yeah, we might have some difficulties getting set up is kind of where I'm at with this team.
I think there's more immediate offense than you're giving it credit for. I mean, these numbers are somewhat big. Like, for Alligator's 105, but the moves are getting boosted by sheer force, right? Like Metacam, it's 60, but you could double that because of pure power. Like, there's definitely I'm definitely respecting the immediate offensive output a little more. But I think you're right though that a lot of times you do want the setup because like you can nasty plot with Rotom, you could Swords Dance, and you do have the Rage Powder available to enable that. It's just I think it's a flexible team that you're going to be able to pick and choose what you want to actually boost.
Seems very strong to me, y'all. Not excited for Prime Spark's Week 1 opponent.
I like a lot of the individual pieces. It's also the only team in the conference with a true non-Terra Disquake mode. Which, I mean, I know Doug Trio is the Quaker, but...
Doug Trio's not a Pokemon.
It's got a Disquake. Come on! Choice Bandit, maybe. I got 110 speeds on that bag. Come on.
It's bad. It's bad.
Real bad.
It's like a low tier. What do you mean?
All right, guys, hear me out. Doug Trio, but less fast.
Doug Trio, James.
Too good. We need to.
I know you're watching,
James.
James. Doug Trio is worse than Wigglytuff. Write that down.
I don't know about that one. I think Wigglytuff's pretty bad. I don't know.
I agree. That says a lot about Doug Trio.
I think Doug Trio's better than that. Even this one. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I like the team. It's got a lot of fun pieces. Do any of these mons get gravity? That's my first question.
It's working against me. But it's definitely working for Prime Sparks. I'm sure multiple of these guys have it.
Gravity?
Without knowing specifics.
Yeah, I don't know.
Gravity?
Not on the deck.
Metacham gets gravity. Hell yeah.
It's round 11. I'm sure we'll make it work.
Hell yeah.
Metacham, the premier gravity setter.
The fastest mon in the format.
Huge power gravity.
It goes crazy.
Double gravity.
Oh man.
All right.
Oh boy.
The Sensikaba, where are you putting it?
I don't know. I'm trying to decide that right now.
I think it's B tier for me.
Tier,
yeah, but it got a lot. I like a lot of the pieces on the squad.
Let me look at
High A for me.
Yeah, I think it's like
them to win.
I guess. All right. Let's keep the ball rolling here. We've got Furret Bang with the Mediocre Mudkips. Hitmon
Welcome
Top.
back.
A premier mon on this board. That goes to show you the daddy plan right here. 19 points for Hitmon Top.
Sheesh. Hey, Hitmon Top's a good mon. Triple Axle, no joke. Even though you got 2 ice types already, but...
Technician, yeah.
Surprise. Technician, Intimidate. We don't talk about the last ability. We don't care about that. All the Rotom forms are good. I'm convinced in this in Gen 9 because of Terra. I mean, you can always just Terra electric move, and it's pretty solid. Cryogonal, I have used it before. I don't know that it's amazing, but I am fairly positive. I'm looking it up now. I'm pretty sure it sets the snow. It does. It sets the snow. We love that for Satitan. 105 speed's pretty good in the format. Pyroar, I think, is notoriously hated on, but Canner has smoked me with it before. Doesn't care about Moxie, doesn't really care about Rivalry. Unnerve is great. We love Unnerve. Hyper Voice Throat Spray goes crazy, and then it just kills stuff because it's actually fairly fast. Furret is a Pokemon that can't follow me, and Frisk, which we love.
Super Fang.
Pretty sure Super Fang. I think it also gets Endeavor, so you could sash Endeavor stuff. That's pretty fun. Also Tidy Up, I think. Big speed and attack boost. We love that. Get rid of any hazards. Probably not happening. Not relevant, but we love
Earth
that.
Sweeps incoming.
I'm getting the sense
But
that we
it's
love a lot of
sweet.
things on this team, Goose.
I do, I do actually like a lot of these mons. Clawitzer does huge damage with Mega Launcher. It pretty much has stab on whatever pulse move it wants. Titan is a fantastic tank by itself. Do we have any redirection? Oh yeah, Furret. I was just talking about that. Follow me, Belly Drums to Titan goes crazy. I shard everything to death. Rampardos is like the highest attack mon ever, minus megas, I think. So you can scarf that mother fricker and go to town and just kill stuff. You could just Terror Rock Slide, scarf, go to town, win. Altaria is, I don't know, Daddy can talk about that one. Duosion is a great Trick Room mon, which can run Eviolite and actually has a fantastic special attack stat with 3 amazing abilities, which we love. Cottony, I don't believe gets Tailwind, but it's a Prankster mon, and I'm pretty sure it gets like Charm and stuff, which is really useful. I don't know, there's a lot of good pieces on this team. I'm not quite sure I see the vision, but I think it can definitely win games, and it's got some end game win conditions. I don't necessarily see a complete synergy, but it's definitely got some good stuff.
So you have 2 Levitators early, and I'm looking for the ground type to take advantage of that, especially with the Disquake on the Rotom. And I think the answer is just like Titan, right? Is this the ground type?
Rampardos.
Yeah, I, like exactly. Like, are these two just like Terra Ground every week, just to have like Earthquake? Like I don't know. The Titan is such like a polarizing mon on this board because like without the snow, is it like really worth that much? The 19, like
Points are free.
It's strong. It has a high HP stat, but like if you don't have snow, it's like, you know, you're running sheer force, but then you're not that fast. And it's like, how do you enable Titan to do what it needs to do? Maybe it's sitting next to Follow Me, it's gonna belly drum, and then it's gonna click Ice Shard and kill your whole team, and you can't do anything about it, right? Like, maybe that's the plan. But then it's like, how do the other pieces support that outside of the 7-point ferret that dies to everything? You know, it's like, how are we getting this Titan to go off? Like, I would have even liked
It's already
to see...
off. It's already good. Hey,
Is
look
it?
at its numbers. It's good. It's sheer force life orb. It's just good.
But has it
It's
proven
already good.
But does
You're
it just-
everything you need, Titan. And that said, the close combat weakness is inexcusable.
I
As
was
someone who
gonna
also
say.
has a close combat weakness, and I'm like really worried about it, this team is worse. So maybe Titan has to be a water type or a fairy type most.
Yeah, I agree completely with that last statement. This team is one of the ones where I think the type chart kind of does matter because the fighting weakness and the lack of flying resists. There's a lot of fighting moves and flying moves being thrown around in this format. I think that could hurt this team. Titan, I want to be a believer, but I think I agree without snow. I think it's going to be kind of difficult to get it going. You know, redirection or fake out and belly drum and ice sharding things is good, but ice shard is a 40 base power move. So with a belly drum, yeah, it's doing damage, right? I'm not going to deny that. I'm not saying Titan is a useless Pokemon. I think it is good, but I think for all those points, which in the end don't really matter, without really reliable snow setup, and I don't think that Cryogonal is reliable snow setup, I think that this thing might not be super strong.
I think like
Rampardos, we'll see.
Yeah.
You know, same thing. It dies, and you want to scarf it, and it can kill stuff. But is Rock Slide even picking up those KOs, especially after an Intimidate? I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, it feels like the main like threats on this team require like a lot to enable in a way where it's like you can't just like throw Rampardos out there and do damage because it's base 58 speed and it's gonna die a lot.
Well, you scarf the Cryogonal and you scarf the Rotom and
Yeah.
you follow me and die and
Yeah.
you intimidate and you just figure it out.
There's no item
I like
clause in this format.
So I'm gonna put a couple of plaudits in this one. With like, it's really hard to beat water types. Like, and the Rotom Mow, one thing it really does is just excellent to have a really strong water beater and just like and to have the freeze dry and to have like a lot of stabs in Clawitzer. I think Fur plays a lot of like balance style pivoting gameplay, and I think that this is a team that enables them as a coach really well. And Clawitzer, if you give this guy time and space with good positioning, it just kills everything. I think the power is actually here, and I think this team is going to do well in practice. And whether or not we put the team at the top, I'm going to, because I just see it very pilotable. So I feel like with the average VBL coach, it's going to be good, and Fur can definitely do well with it.
Yeah, I'm going to put it relatively low. Goose did ask about Altaria. I mean, the thing's going to probably want to Terra a lot of the time. It does have the ability to shut down opposing weather. This team does have a handful of ice resists, so maybe you're not bringing ice just for, maybe the Rotom and the Altaria, so maybe you don't have to worry about tearing it too much. Decent bulk, decent move pool, shutting down opponents' weather when we have a sun/rain team running around and we have our ice team running around could provide, some utility. I don't know if they're in the same division. Yeah, so Altaria, not a great Pokemon, obviously, but 4 points. It's solid.
Altaria, fun fact, also gets Snowscape, so
there you go.
Another snow setter.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
I mean, it's gonna win games. So Titan is obviously good. I'm just a little skeptical about the fit, I guess, is my point. And I don't know. I like the Rotom. I like the Hitmontop. I'm just not really seeing the synergy with where the draft went after that for me. So I'm gonna rate it a little lower than some of the other teams. That's my take.
For me it was round 6 is passed, you're starting round 7 and you're looking at the amount of points you have left and you're like, damn, I should buy something that's worth a lot because I want to use my points.
But I wish maybe you
That happened to me, happened to most of us.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Hitmontop is the best pairing for Titan, not Obama. Changed my mind. There's my hot take for you.
I mean, you could run Vacuum Wave weakness policy. That's a whole
Intimidate, fake out, ride guard
a
the
lot of
rock
options,
fights.
yeah.
It's good.
I mean, like every team that we see, every draft team we see, all teams have the capacity to win, right? It's Pokemon. Where we rank these is irrelevant to what actually happens.
It's slightly correlated, moderately, mildly correlated.
Well, I don't know. So where some teams, I don't know about that, but sure.
Yeah. This team has potential, but for me, it's going to be a C tier team.
That's where I'm putting it, yeah.
Top of C.
Gonna make playoffs. You heard it here. Every team's gonna make playoffs.
Farrat's a great player, so yeah, I don't.
All right, guys, it's time to address the elephant in the room. What does a draft league team look like?
Do they have Paparaja again?
No, not this time. But this time they have a bigger elephant, and that elephant is 31 points that were left behind on the board. This person decided to do Daddy Plan Part 3 with the second part of the draft and grabbed some very low tier Pokemon. So I don't know how is this one going to stack up against the rest of these teams?
Well, I think that having all these low cost mons, I think that obviously that's going to come back to bite you at least a little bit. Kleavor, I think, is a super solid Pokemon. I mean, what's its signature move? It's not the most reliable thing in the world. We saw Electric use it one season and it missed every time and never hit anything, which sucks. Sorry, Electric, but Kleavor also, I believe, the only Tailwind setter on this team. I don't think that that's quite as important as some people made it seem, because you do have the fastest Pokemon in the format on this team, and it does have access to Electroweb. If you want to go first, I think a lot of the time this team can go for it first. Unfortunately, the Mon is Electrode. So it's not doing much else other than speed control. Maybe screeches here and there. Maybe, it does have a handful of little support moves you might want to use. Maybe Light Screen to help keep your team alive. Stonejourner is going to help out offensively. This team is very, very attack heavy. And a lot of teams are in the format, but I'm looking at the special attackers now, and I'm seeing
one.
I'm seeing an illusion.
Yeah.
Zoroark, Coop, Clicks, Dark Pulse, and Flamethrower.
Oh,
right.
Giraffe Rig.
Yeah, when Girafarig is set up to sweep on your team, you might be in a little bit of trouble. Now, I mean, I'm not very familiar with how Poppy's play style. Maybe you could definitely do some interesting things with this team. I mean, it's going to go first a lot of the time. It is. Now, is it going to be able to do anything when it goes first? Intimidate's going to hurt. Prankster Reflect or Fast Reflect could hurt too. Yeah, I think that the lack of points spent on this team is going to be kind of its downfall.
Yeah, and even like the points that we did spend, it's like a little perplexing because it's like when you have Bramblegast, you ideally want to pair it with an elite Tailwind setter to take advantage of the Wind Rider, right? And it's like, yeah, Cleaver gets Tailwind, but like you don't spend 18 points on Cleaver for it to click Tailwind and die every. Ideally, you want Cleaver to be the Tailwind abuser. You want it to be taking advantage of the speed control you're providing to set those Stone Axe and those Stealth Rocks out to do big damage with the sharpness. Here it's like kind of thrust into this role where it's like, if you're not clicking Tailwind with this, you're doing it with Fletchling, and then you're bringing Fletchling to the match, and it's like, how good is that really? You guys kind of said it. Like the team just lacks like good stat Pokemon, right? Like these are a lot of like mons that are one-dimensional. Like there's some good low tiers here, right? Like Stonjourner is good for the point value. Ambipom is great with Fake Out, like S to support the team. Like I like the Electrode, I like the Locust, but like it's just these are meant to be those pieces you add later to round out the full team, not the team itself. And this feels like a team that's missing like a lot of pieces, and that's obvious because when you look at the board, they left 30 points potential on the board.
It felt like one of those teams that you see a couple people do this every season where they kind of try to get that value early and then come back and look at the top of the board later, and by the time Ploppy looked at the top of the board, it was gone. So there's this void. I feel that's sort of left with this team.
Yeah,
Our bad with setting the budget. I'm going to give Flower specifically to Cleaver because I'm using that, and that thing is incredible. Like, get burned and take an Oko anyway. Like, X Scissor with Sharpness is just that strong. And I think, like, some of the numbers like the Sharpness are disguised, like Ambipom, could be a serious menace. Like, the Fake Out does 30%, and then the Triple Axle kills you or whatever else it has in store.
The Runaway is actually Technician, just in case that wasn't clear.
Yeah, and the low kicks, like the Stonjourner boosted, the power's here, but the team is like totally, they're every mon for themselves. Like these mons are not supporting each other very well. Like we have very scant support. We have to be surprising in order to win because we just don't have fundamentals on the team. Like we're really lacking. And then the board is big clean now, and I don't know how to fix it. I'm sorry, and I'm just gonna put this team towards the bottom. I don't know.
Click close combat on everything besides Bramblegast.
Or Alluring Voice. Just side note real quick. I know we're talking about the board being kind of busted because everything got picked, but also I was talking about this with some of the mods. I think it's kind of the spirit of the plan too. Like when I initially thought about this, I was like, I want to see everything get drafted. Not when I say everything, I don't mean your Caterpies and your Magikarps. I mean like everything that could be valuable. I wanted to see it played, and I think that we're going to get that this season. So that is one thing that is exciting, in my opinion.
It's a beautiful experiment. It's gonna be fun regardless.
Yeah. It's a silly season, right? It's not
its own thing, you know.
Yeah.
All right, so
This is the highest physical offense team in the entire conference, though. I will say that in terms of stats.
It is, but like the
and it's got a sharpness on there and a power spot.
And a Stonjourner, yeah. But like also like the numbers aren't like, it's kind of deceptive because like the average is high, but like some of the mons are just like 100, 100, 100, 100.
Right.
Like it's not like the mons are like packing some serious heat.
Right, and after an Intimidate, that 100 becomes
or Reflect.
Right?
Simeon Defiant, how dare you?
Because you can just click Reflect versus team.
The Simeon's got to come every week.
But Foreign is a skilled coach. They're gonna steal some games with this team.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Foreign.
We're gonna earn some games too.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Foreign's
the team
very
itself
good.
is not very good. But that's okay.
Foreign's great.
yeah, that's my opinion too.
All right, so
That's
D tier. Let's move on to our last team.
Yeah,
We've got-
great coach. I don't get the team, but great coach.
Yeah. So
They'll make it work somehow.
C-Rad, welcome to the league. Got the
Welcome.
wheel pick in the draft to finish us off. And I think picking Inteleon and Weezing on the wheel is like really cool. I always respect people that value Weezing as a Pokemon and are confident enough in their skills as a coach to use it, because personally, I'm so scared to use Weezing because I feel like not having my abilities, I would not know how to play around it. But if you're going to draft Weezing high and you're going to make it a center point of your team, you want to draft strong Pokemon that have good stats but don't have good abilities, and you get a discount on them because normally on a normal team, they don't have an ability, right? You have a Wheezing team here. You get Inteleon and Delphox, whose abilities are not that useful. Sniper has niche uses for sure with scope lens and stuff, but you know, I think these are a really good start to a team that has
Rotom Fan, the mom that doesn't have an ability.
Literally doesn't have ability, and Toadschool, who has a negative ability, right? Just get rid of that right away. It's really cool. So I think as far as a Wheezing team goes, I really like the synergy with the Wheezing. You know, aside from the Wheezing synergy, it's like, is Wheezing this like format defining mon that just like makes your team super scary? No. Like I think it's good in its own sense. You just
I think it's good. I think the numbers fundamentally are there, like as just like a bulky phys def poison type that can sometimes levitate even. The mon's kind of tearing my other draft league just as like a mon that just it's like, oh, I'm Will-O-Wisping you and I'm just hanging out and I'm sludge bombing.
Well, like I said, I'm not comfortable using it, so maybe I'm just sleeping a little bit. But
well, yeah, I had it and I did not use it like I use it like a genius, or I had glazing. I still thought it was really good. So Sukaba, I dare you to dream. And I think you're gonna do great things when you find Wheezing.
Maybe.
One other synergy is Wheezing with an Intimidate mod. You bring it in and then you bring it out to re-trigger the Intimidate again.
Ooh,
That's cool.
that's
Something else I've totally forgot about earlier. I said Wigglytuff was the only snipe. Rotom Fan was another mon that I was hoping to get, and it got taken that round. Everybody like clowns on it because it doesn't have an ability. Absolutely true. It's the worst Rotom form, but it's still Rotom. It's still Rotom, and you know, Terra Electric on that thing. All of a sudden, it's doing some damage. It has a pretty good support move pool. Pretty bulky. It's a good mon. I really do believe in it. I don't know if I'm quite as high on Wheezing as Jordan, but now that I'm looking at it, like the numbers kind of are there. I mean, 90 attack is not great, but it is bulky. And if you throw Levitate on it, all of a sudden your only weakness is Psychic. And I don't think that you're really fearful with this team, or really with any team, of people bringing Psy Spam or something. It doesn't exist in this format. And Psychic is not a extremely potent offensive type outside of that. So yeah, maybe Wheezing could be really good this season. Inteleon, we've seen it do great things in the past. One of the fastest mons in the format. It's hitting super hard. It does have access to Sniper. This team has some pretty cool options.
Yeah, I think I'm a little skeptical about the damage output of this team, just because your biggest damage mons are like also very frail. And like the Inteleon and the Delphox can do big damage especially, but it's also not that big. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I feel like this team's lacking like that setup, like end game threat that's just gonna sweep the team. Maybe I'm just not seeing it and it's there hidden somewhere. But like I feel like this team is a little lacking in the offense department, and that might struggle to win games.
The answer is,
well, hearing Sukaba's advice there is bring the specs, like the independent cleaner in Inteleon. It could be Delphox, it could be Rotom. So I think you need to augment in that way, but I think the potential is really here. Like we got pledges at the speed of 120. I'm actually really jazzed about the offensive pieces if they're piloted well. So I don't know if C-Rad is experienced in Draft League, but I think it'll be a fun team.
The answer is Terra Dragon and Inteleon next to Dragon Cheer, Sceptile, Snipe Shot, crit everything.
Oh, I bet they know.
That's
there's some heat in there, yeah.
Terra Dragon and Inteleon with Sniper is 100% legit if you have Dragon Cheer.
Pretty fun. That's a lot of really damage.
Good. And the speed stat works out where you can manipulate it to where Sceptile's one faster.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, and that's outspeeding most teams. Just those two.
Also, I mean, hidden the mode here, like Sceptile with Unburden on electric terrain. Give it Electric Seed, and it's like off to the races.
Sceptile is fraudulent, though, I will say.
Yes, but that's why I had the points.
It's definitely not great.
It's not great, but it's something. It's something.
Yeah, it is something.
Like,
it really is acting like a Pokemon. It is very tricksy. It is Joe Bluth.
Some weeks it can do, you know, the speed is something. It has
sometimes they lead Sceptile and you're not ready for it and you get owned. It happens. It does.
I don't think it does.
Ice Shard weakness policy.
Yeah, and it clicks Terraflying Acrobatics and just like
one thing real quick that we haven't talked about. Hitmonchan I think is a super solid Pokemon. Access to inner focus and fake out, unflinchable fake out's always good. Yeah,
the guts of this team are very strong. I'm putting this above Poppin, which I think might be unreasonably optimistic, but I think this is a very good team.
Wow,
I am not as high on the team, but I definitely like some of the pieces and some of the options, and I think this will be a fun team to watch.
yeah, I'm very high on Papa's team, so I'm definitely not in agreement there. But
Yeah.
I think this team's really good though. Like I do like the Wheezing. I like for a Wheezing team, I don't really get it, but like I think it's good. Like I like the pieces. I'm just a little worried about the offense, so I don't know if I could put it super high. I'm thinking like it's gonna fit into B tier for me somewhere.
Yeah, I have it just ahead of Tux. I think that, you know, and then all these teams, they could go up a little higher or down a little lower. Yeah, but I think it's a really good team. I think it's somewhere around the average.
Yeah.
I'm unreasonably optimistic. I'm in my optimistic era. The VBL is full of hope. It's week 0. Everybody's team is undefeated, and it's a really good time. Enjoy content week. Honestly, like a lot of the team strong. Like we've adjusted our expectations now that we're like, oh, that's amazing. Delphox is so good. But it could happen. Like crazier things have happened. I'm excited for this season, y'all.
It'll be a fun season for sure.
Yeah, I'll definitely look out for the rest of the content coming out this week. I'm sure there'll be more Olds reviews. I'm not sure who's going to run it for the baby conference. So be on the lookout for that. And then be on the lookout for some matches to start up next week. Will we have a new champion this year, or will we see one of the reigning champs win again? I'm rooting for some new blood this time. Whether it be the young bloods or one of the olds. So let's see it. Let's see it happen. Love you, VBL. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.
See you.